There is no safe amount of processed meat to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wow. That's a pretty bold statement.
It really is. Catches your eye.
Yeah, definitely. So today we're going to, dig into that, look beyond the headline and explore the actual research that's behind such a strong claim.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, it's important to understand the full picture. Because the research, it isn't just about processed meat.
Oh, right. What else?
Well, it also points to increased risks from things like sugar-sweetened beverages and also trans fatty acids.
Okay.
So the goal for you listening in is really to get a handle on the evidence, what it might mean for your own health, and maybe think about some practical steps, without getting totally bogged down in the science detail. Yeah, and that study pulled together data from like over 60 previous studies, so it's synthesizing a lot of existing work.
Right, a meta-analysis type of thing.
Pretty much, yeah, a specific kind we can get into.
Okay, so this headline, no safe amount, that feels definitive. Can you walk us through what the research actually found? Like, what are the concrete risks they're talking about with daily consumption?
Sure. So the study, led by Dr. Demoise Hale in Seattle, it found some really specific links.
Okay.
For processed meat, specifically, eating what amounts to just one medium-sized hot dog per day.
Just one, wow.
Yeah, just one. That was associated with an 11% greater risk of type 2 diabetes.
11%.
And a 7% increased risk of colorectal cancer. And the really crucial part here wasn't just, eat less processed meat. It was that even at that low daily amount, the risk jumped noticeably, which kind of challenges that old idea that, a little bit in moderation is fine for these specific foods. It seems the risk just keeps going up as consumption increases, which led them to that very strong conclusion: there is no safe amount.
Okay. That clarifies the processed meat part. What about the sugary drinks?
Right. So for sugar-sweetened beverages, or SSBs, drinking about one 12-ounce can of soda a day.
Like a standard can.
Exactly. That was linked to an 8% increase in type 2 diabetes risk.
Okay.
And also a 2% increased risk of ischemic heart disease. That's where blood flow to the heart muscle is reduced.
Now, I can imagine someone listening might hear those percentages, 11%, 7%, 8%, even 2%, and think, well, is that really a huge deal?
That's a really fair point.
But the experts quoted, they're calling these links remarkably strong. So what makes these seemingly small numbers so significant in their eyes?
Yeah, that's key. It gets to how we interpret risk, doesn't it? It's not always about one single giant percentage jump. So experts who weren't involved in this specific Nature Medicine study, people like Dr. Anita Farahi from Cambridge, she basically said, look, these findings line up with what we've seen before. They're consistent with prior research.
So it's not coming out of the blue.
Not at all. And then Dr. Mingyang Song from Harvard, he added that even though the percentage increases might seem small, the data is, and this is his phrase, remarkably consistent and remarkably strong.
Remarkably strong.
Yeah. It shows increased risk even at these lower levels of eating or drinking this stuff. So it's less about one study's big number and more about the sheer volume and consistency of evidence pointing in the same direction. It's like, lots of studies whispering the same thing, and now it's loud enough to be a clear message.
Okay, I get that. The consistency is the key takeaway there. Now, nutritional research is famously tricky. How did this study manage to pull together findings from over 60 others and get such, consistent and strong results? What was their method?
Right, good question. They used a technique called the burden of proof method.
Burden of proof. Okay.
Yeah, it's a newer type of meta-analysis. It doesn't just average out the results from all the studies. It actually looks at the quality of each study, too, and gives more weight to the better ones.
Okay.
And Dr. Song, the Harvard expert, mentioned that this particular method tends to produce very conservative results.
Conservative meaning?
Meaning it sets a really high bar. So the links they did find are likely pretty solid because they had to pass this tough test.
Okay, that sounds robust. But there's always a but in nutritional science, isn't there?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's super important to mention the caveats here. Dr. Gunter Kuhnlo from the University of Reading pointed this out.
What did he say?
Well, first, all the studies they included were observational.
Meaning they just watch people, they don't intervene.
Exactly. So they can show an association like people who eat more processed meat tend to get more diabetes, but they can't definitively prove that the meat caused the diabetes. There could be other factors.
Correlation isn't causation. The classic line.
The classic line, precisely. And another big challenge, especially in diet research, is how they get the data.
How so?
Often it relies on people remembering what they ate. Food frequency questionnaires, diet diaries.
Ah, the I definitely ate 5 servings of vegetables yesterday problem.
Exactly. People might misremember or maybe slightly misreport what they ate. So Dr. Kuhnloy notes that the dietary information we get from these kinds of studies can be, in his words, rather limited.
Right, that self-reporting weakness is always there, isn't it? Okay, so we have these strong associations, but with the usual caveats about observation and reporting. Let's shift to the why. Why these specific foods? What's actually going on inside our bodies, biologically speaking, that might link processed meat or sugary drinks to things like diabetes or heart disease?
Great question. There are a few potential mechanisms scientists talk about. One big one for both processed meats and sugary drinks is inflammation.
Inflammation, we hear that word a lot.
We do. And it's thought to be a key driver behind many chronic diseases. These foods seem to promote low-grade chronic inflammation in the body.
Okay. What else, specifically for processed meats?
Well, with processed meats, think hot dogs, bacon, deli meats. They're often cured using nitrates.
Right.
And in the stomach, these nitrates can be converted into compounds called nitrosamines. And some nitrosamines are known carcinogens. They can cause cancer.
Ah, okay. That's a direct chemical link possibility.
The sugary drinks.
With sugary drinks, the issue is largely the rapid, massive dose of sugar you get all at once.
The sugar rush, basically.
Yeah, but beyond the rush. It contributes to weight gain, obviously, but it also messes with your metabolic pathways in ways that can increase the risk for heart disease and type 2 diabetes. It just overwhelms the system.
And trans fats, they were mentioned too.
Right, trans fatty acids. These are less common now, thankfully, as many places have banned or limited them. But where they exist, usually in partially hydrogenated oil.
They're known to be pretty bad for heart health. They lower your good HDL cholesterol and raise your bad LDL cholesterol.
Which leads to plaque in the arteries.
Exactly. That buildup narrows arteries and increases heart disease risk.
So there are plausible biological reasons. But you mentioned other factors earlier, too. Confounding factors.
Yes, absolutely crucial point. It's often really hard, as the experts say, to take these apart.
Meaning?
Meaning people who tend to eat a lot of processed meat or drink a lot of soda might also be more likely to smoke or less likely to exercise.
Lifestyle factors clustering together.
Precisely. And beyond just individual choices, there are bigger societal things at play, social determinants of health, like someone's education level, their income, chronic stress levels, maybe limited access to quality health care or healthier food options.
Right. Those can all influence both diet and health outcomes independently.
Exactly. So it's a complex web, and diet is just one thread, albeit an important one.
Okay, this is a lot to take in. We have strong, consistent evidence of risk, plausible biological reasons, but also these complexities and caveats. So what's the bottom line for you listening right now? What's a sensible way to approach this? Does this mean you have to ditch the occasional hot dog at a barbecue or completely give up soda forever?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Finding the balance. So while the data, being observational, doesn't technically prove that cutting back causes lower risk, Dr. Song, the Harvard expert, he suggests reducing intake is still probably a good idea.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah. And Dr. Kuhnle, the expert who urged caution about causality, his advice is pretty practical. Aim for a varied and balanced diet that avoids excess.
Avoids excess. That sounds less scary than no safe amount.
It does. So specifically, if
Yeah.
you drink a lot of sugary drinks, cutting back seems like a smart move based on this evidence. Limiting excess processed meats is also recommended.
Okay.
And avoiding trans fats, those hydrogenated fats, whenever possible, is still good advice, even if they're less common.
So it's about reduction and moderation for those items. Is there anything about adding things in?
Absolutely. It's not just about avoidance. Dr. Foruhi, the Cambridge expert, she highlights the wealth of research showing major health benefits from diets that are high in positive things.
Like what?
Like fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, beans, lentils, nuts, and even fermented dairy products like yogurt. These are consistently linked to better health and longevity, so it's about shifting the balance towards those foods too.
Adding the good stuff, not just removing the bad.
Exactly. And maybe the most important piece of advice comes again from Dr. Kunle. He stressed a don't panic message.
Don't panic. I like that.
Yeah. He said the goal isn't perfection. It's aiming for a healthy and sensible dietary pattern that allows room for enjoyment.
That feels much more achievable. A sensible pattern with room for enjoyment.
Okay, I think that don't panic message is really key here. This whole deep dive, it really underscores how being informed about the evidence, understanding the nuances, it empowers you to make choices that feel balanced and right for your own life. Couldn't agree more. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. This comes directly from the source material echoing that don't panic idea.
Okay.
It's this. Food is not just a source of nutrients. It plays a central role in culture, pleasure, family life, and social connection. Reducing it solely to a list of health risks misses the bigger picture.
That's powerful.
It is, isn't it? So as you think about all this information, maybe reflect on how you can weave these scientific insights into your life while still honoring the joy, the culture, the connection that food brings. It's about finding your balance.